What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I'm going to talk about something that will impact all of us at some point in our life. And I used to talk about this subject a lot, but then I started talking more about the elections. But this goes hand in hand with the elections. So we're going to focus on Social Security today. The chief actuary came out with some information just a few days ago, and I'm going to show you that information. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But before we do this, I want to show you Speaker Johnson talking about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and how he wants to make adjustments. You can determine what adjustments mean, but when I hear adjustments, I hear that he wants to cut Social Security and cut Medicare and cut Medicaid. And then also I want to talk about why it's important for us to elect the right people in office. Because if you do not elect the right people in office, our future is on the line. And I have that in my tagline on this channel. Our future is on the ballot. And I say that because if we vote for the wrong people, if we elect the wrong people, then it's going to impact us, and it could impact us in a very negative way. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to listen to Speaker Johnson talking about making adjustments to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And then I want to show you another congressman who was walking, and he was asked this question about Social Security, and he was acting like he was on the phone, but he wasn't on the phone. And so we'll play that too. But here's Speaker Johnson. Here we go.
We've been doing all that. And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address. The largest spending items, the reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year, and it's critical because we're at 40 trillion plus.
Okay, so you heard him talk about 40 trillion plus the spending. So if you have a politician, and politicians, they didn't say this before. They weren't talking about cutting Social Security. They wouldn't say that out loud. They would say, no, we don't have any plans. Speaker Johnson's one who said, we don't have any plans to cut Social Security. We don't have any plans to cut Social Security. But the reality is he wants to cut Social Security. Because when you start talking about we need to make adjustments, we need to fix Social Security, what are you really saying? Because we've had politicians put potential plans on the table saying we want to cut Social Security. We want to raise the full retirement age, which is a cut to Social Security. Or we want to just outright cut Social Security benefits or limit the amount of people who can receive Social Security benefits. And remember, these are benefits that you pay into. And I'm going to go over a chart and I'll show you exactly how Social Security works. But before I do that, I want to show you Representative Wittman. He's going to be acting like he's on the phone when he's really not on the phone, just because he doesn't want to answer this question about Social Security. Here we go.
Congressman, what is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good.
Now you can see he's clearly not on the phone, because when you're on the phone, you're going to see who you're calling. He's clearly not on the phone. It looks like, I don't even know, it looks like he's looking at videos or something like that, YouTube or something. But he's clearly not on the phone. He's going to keep walking and acting like he's talking to someone, but he's really not.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'll be there in just a few minutes.
No response, sir?
I'm heading your way right now. Yeah, it's over at 416.
Congressman, what is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
I appreciate that. I've got some more efforts that I want to talk to you about. There are actually more things that we have to be working on. Yeah, I want to make sure that we're
No response, sir?
Yeah, listen, thanks. I
just want you to imagine, let's say you're at work and your boss is asking you a question and you get on the phone like you're fake talking to someone, and your boss is looking at you and seeing that you're not talking to anyone, but you're just ignoring your boss and you just continue to walk. Now, this is a constituent. It might not be his constituent, but it's still a constituent asking him a question, and he's just not responding. He could say, you know what, we'll talk about it later. I have a plan, or, I don't know exactly what he said. That's what most politicians will say is, I haven't heard that. Maybe I'll look into that. But he is not even, he's completely ignoring this gentleman, which is, really disrespectful, because you are a public servant. You are there to talk to the public.
appreciate your help on this. I really do need some more of your input. Yeah, if you can actually reach out, I'll make sure that we do more of this. Yeah, listen, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. hmm Yes. Yes, I believe me, I understand. There's more of those things that we need to work on.
And it's funny, the guy that's recording this, he's not talking anymore. He's just walking, obviously, but he just wants to hear how long the congressman just continues to ramble to no one, just talk to the phone.
Yes. Thanks again. Listen, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congressman, what is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
And you saw, like, how did he he didn't like hit the red button to turn the phone off. He just exited the screen that he had on there. And just walks away.
Yes.
Now, it's pretty comical, but this is a very serious situation. They're talking about Social Security. They're talking about potentially making cuts to Social Security, and this politician is acting like he's on the phone just because he doesn't want to have to answer that question. So now I want to talk a little bit about Social Security and how it works. We're briefly going to go over this. I just want to give you guys an idea of what's going on with Social Security, and then we'll talk about the problem with Social Security and how we need to have a fix to Social Security. I agree, but making cuts to Social Security is not going to benefit the people who are going to be receiving Social Security benefits and the people who are already receiving Social Security benefits. And so the first thing we need to understand is we have two trust funds that are in play right now, okay? So you have trust funds, and then you also have money that's coming in to the Social Security Administration when people are working. So when you're working, you're contributing 6.2%, your employer's matching that 6.2%, and that money is going to the Social Security Administration to help pay out benefits. And I'll illustrate this later just to show you exactly how it works. But what you need to understand is right now you have about 70.5 million beneficiaries, okay? That's people receiving Social Security benefits. And then you have about 184.7 million people who are currently working and they're paying into the payroll tax. All right. So payroll tax rate is 12.4%, and that's coming from 6.2% from the employee, 6.2% coming from the employer. If you're self-employed, like I'm self-employed, I have my own business, I'm contributing 12.4%. So you contribute both as an employee and as an employer. Okay, so right now, and this is back 2025, total cost $1.61 trillion. Okay, that is the money that is going into Social Security, that's the money that you need to pay out benefits currently. Okay, 1.61 trillion. Now, this money is coming from you. You're contributing this money, and that's how that money is being paid out. Okay, so if we look at the depletion, what we're talking about right now, in 2032, quarter four of 2032, one of the trust funds will be completely depleted, okay? That would mean that if that happened and Congress doesn't act to reform Social Security, we're looking at cuts of about 22% across the board. Now, what will happen at this point if Congress hasn't acted is they're going to take the other trust fund, okay? So they'll take the DI trust fund and they will help supplement the OASI trust fund. Okay, so the trust fund for retirees, then you have disability. That's what they're talking about there. So that is what they would have to do. And so if they combine the trust funds, the two trust funds, then we're looking at an expiration of both trust funds by 2034. And so if we're in a situation like that where both the trust funds have completely depleted, now we're going to see that about 23% cut. It'll be a cut to your benefits, okay? So, and that's everyone across the board. So that's people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits, as well as people who will be receiving Social Security benefits in the near future. Everyone is going to be impacted. Not only people receiving Social Security benefits as a retiree, but what about survivors? What about spousal benefits? All of that is going to be impacted by this. And so right now, we have a cap on people who contribute to Social Security benefits. Okay, so if you are earning more than $184,500 per year, you no longer have to contribute to Social Security benefits. You contribute up until that level, but after that, you don't have to contribute that 6.2%, and your employer's not matching that 6.2%. So this is one of the things that you'll hear politicians talk about. They'll say, we need to raise the cap. We need to raise that cap and allow for more people to have to contribute more into Social Security benefits. So instead of $184,500, let's raise it up to $300,000. You raise it up to $300,000, now you're going to be able to collect more revenue for Social Security benefits. So that is one thing that you hear. Now, another thing that you hear is just across the board, why not just say instead of 6.2%, now you're going to contribute 7.2%, and your employer is going to match that 7.2%, and that's more money going in to help pay out benefits. Okay, and that will help you in the future as well. And like I said, I'll go over the models just so you see that. Okay, so, and they just go on here just to talk about the calculations here from the two trust funds. It's not really important. What you need to understand is no matter, and right now we have the trustees out there saying they think it's going to be 22% or 23% cut across the board. Some experts are saying it's 17% across the board. But what you need to understand is it's going to be a cut to benefits. That's the main thing, because it will actually change. It will fluctuate depending on inflation, depending on a lot of different factors. We're looking at the trust funds being depleted sooner, and then that percentage, we don't know exactly how much that percentage is going to be. Now, let me go over this model. I just want to show you, just so you understand how Social Security works. When it comes to Social Security, you have people who are working. They are contributing 6.2%. The employer's matching that 6.2%. That goes to the Social Security Administration to help pay out benefits to beneficiaries, retirees, spousal benefits, survivor benefits, disability benefits. That's how Social Security works in a nutshell. Now, when we're looking at the workers and the employer contributing this money goes to help out the beneficiaries, but guess what? It's not enough. And that's where the trust fund comes into play. We don't have enough money just with the people who are currently working to pay out benefits at 100%. And so we are drawing on this trust fund. We're drawing on this $2.34 trillion. That is why the trust funds are being slowly depleted. They're being depleted because we don't have enough people in the workforce. And that's only going to get worse in the future. Just think of AI, just think of robots and all the different stuff that we're seeing right now that's taking jobs realistically. And I know the argument is, well, AI is going to take some jobs, but then they'll have new jobs. That's true. You might have some new jobs, but I still think the jobs that will be lost is going to outweigh the new jobs that will come on board. And those new jobs might require college degrees and they're very specific jobs when it comes to AI. Whereas before you could have other jobs, manual labor jobs that people are working. A lot of those jobs are going to go away. Office jobs, receptionists, things like that. They're already going away. You go into a restaurant right now and you're starting to see where they're using more technology, where the waiter doesn't even have to come over to you for you to pay your bill. Now you just use a little machine that's sitting in front of you. Or you go to a doctor's office, instead of a receptionist greeting you, you're signing in and then the nurse just comes out and gets you. And I just saw a video of autonomous trucks that are making deliveries now. So you don't even need truckers anymore. And so when you start eliminating all these positions, sure, you're going to have people that are going to need to fix these trucks, and you're going to have people that are, they're going to have to be monitoring, these trucks. But one person can monitor, let's just say, for example, 10 trucks. And now you don't need 10 truck drivers. You just need one person that's monitoring those 10 vehicles. And so you can see we're seeing a shift, and we have less people in the workforce. And so that is going to impact the trust funds even more, because if you have less people in the workforce and less employers hiring people, they're not going to be contributing that 6.2%, and the employer's not going to match that 6.2% to go to pay out beneficiaries. And so the trust funds are going to be depleted much faster. So right now, the estimate is 2032 is when it will begin. And then if they pull from the other trust fund, it'll be about 2034. That could be expedited if we're in a situation where we have less people in the workforce. Now, the good news about all of this is we can make a change. We can get out and vote these politicians out of office. Now, when it comes to Speaker Johnson, this is his plan. He's talking about doing this next year. He wants to have adjustments and fixes to Social Security. Those adjustments, I can guarantee you, are going to be a cut to Social Security benefits, a cut to Medicare. Medicare is another animal. You pay into Medicare as well. Okay, so when it comes to these different programs, these are programs that you've contributed your whole life, and you could get to the point where now it's time where you can start collecting Social Security benefits, and they make changes to cut your benefits. Or to say that, you know what, instead of 67, the age that it is right now, you're not going to be able to retire to get your full benefits until you're 70. So now you have to work 3 more years. And so that can impact you. Also, when we're talking about spousal, survivor, we're talking about disability, those benefits can be impacted as well. And so you know this already. Speaker Johnson has already indicated this. And so you should not be voting for Speaker Johnson. You should not be voting for the Republicans that want to support this, because it will impact you. And the vast majority of us contribute to Social Security. Not everyone in the workforce, but the vast majority, 95% of people in the workforce are contributing to Social Security benefits. Some people pay into pensions. When I was working before, I was paying into a pension because I had a government job, but now I'm contributing to Social Security. And now I will be able to collect Social Security benefits. And so that is why it's crucial to know the politicians that you're voting for and find out how they feel about Social Security, how they feel about making cuts to Social Security. Just like the congressman, Wittman, just walking down the street acting like he's on the phone because he doesn't want to have to answer that question. You should be asking questions of these congresspeople to find out how they feel about Social Security. Do they have plans? Will they vote for legislation to make cuts to Social Security? Will they vote for legislation to raise that full retirement age up? Because remember, that is a cut to Social Security benefits. You'll have a shorter window of time that you can collect Social Security benefits if they raise the age up. Sure, you can take it early, but if you take it early, it's going to be at a reduced benefit. So it could be as much as 30% reduction to your benefits for the entirety of your benefits. And so I just wanted to put that out there. I know I don't talk about Social Security that much anymore. I will continue to keep you guys updated when we get information coming in about Social Security, because I think it's very, very crucial for all of us to know what's going on, because most of us at some point in our lives are going to want to draw our Social Security. So now I want to hand it off to you. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Speaker Johnson wants to make cuts to Social Security benefits? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.